5% from three, has good mechanics, and you know that shot will be there. And stop. And Van Vliet slow. Getting back, looks like he's going to be all right. Getting back, looks like he's going to be all right. Here's Gary Trent Jr. Pascal, finger roll, and the foul. Fastest ever to 150 wins as a head coach of the Toronto Raptors. Gary Trent Jr. Oh, that is sweet. The teardrop. So fun to watch. 23 years of age, fourth season out of Kentucky, of course, from Hamilton. Here's Gary Trent Jr. Sidestep three doesn't go. 6 points, 3 rebounds in 2 dimes.
Imposing his will early on.
Here's Gary Trent Jr. and Trent Jr. pulls up and knocks it down. The head nodding, saying, you know, I need, right, some action here.
Directing traffic, and that's good. That's good.
Fadeaway three doesn't go. Trent Jr. with it. Raptors by 4. Three doesn't go. Trent Jr. with it. Raptors by 4. Pull up, 3, and it's good from Young's point. Delano Banton, along with Trent Jr., Bonga, Watanabe, and Barnes. And Trent Jr. shot doesn't go. And man stripped.
Once again, you see the hands again.
Getting it done from a defensive standpoint. Van Vliet sends it now to Trent Jr. in the circle. Jay, good.
And that's going to turn around because now you look at the Raptors offensive team out there.
And nobody gets out to the shooter.
And coach is upset.
Yeah.
As you can see.
Gary Trent Jr.'s three doesn't go. And Nick Nurse didn't say anything. He just looked away. And Gary Trent Jr. with the steal to Barnes. And a foul. Back over to Trent Jr. He comes and slips the screen. Trent Jr. over Shea. Oh, that is tough. Fred picked up by Dort. Clock down. Gary Trent Jr. can get his. And that's a second-made 3 here. Dort trying to get room, can't around Watanabe. And the denial by Boucher on the Muscala three-point attempt. Pascal looks around. Splash! And kicks it out to Watanabe. Trent Jr. rattles in the 3. Bucket and book it. Shea in the corner. Robinson Earl doesn't go. And Trent Jr. grabs a rebound, ahead down to Pascal. And Fred turns the corner. Trent Jr., 5 on the clock. At the end of the clock, doesn't go, and Siakam with it. Trent Jr. to the elbow. And Boucher. Robinson Earl. Back over to Shea. Gets in the lane. And the shot pops out.
You got the ball back, so that could be more impactful at the end of the game.
Along with the fact that Boucher, instead of having 3 fouls, has 2.
Yep.
And you get the bucket there. Cut off, sends it back to Watanabe. He'll move it. Gary Trent Jr. gets into the paint. Shot doesn't go, and Robinson Earl with it. Raptors have missed their last 7 shots.
Raptors got a lockdown on defense. Start putting stops together.
4 minutes and 20 seconds between field goals. Shot doesn't go. Scooped up by Van Vliet. Speeding ahead. Trent Jr. the 3. Doesn't go. And Favors with a rebound. Raptors are 8 for 37. First half they shot 59%. And a foul. Van Vliet. Down 9. Trent Jr. a little bit of room. Pascal! Van Vliet to Pascal. Over to Trent Jr. We got a game! 103-102. Trent Jr. now attacks. Back over to Fred for the tie. 105-105. Now a 24-8 run, and a foul is going to be charged to Gary Trent Jr.